Okay, it's recording.
Great. Gesa, Hansen and Christian Haas, it's so great to be with you here today at the Villeroy Boch stand here at ISH. And it's a double pleasure for me because I'm interviewing you tomorrow on stage as well. So
Yes.
you can never have enough of a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
So listen, guys, tell me about you as designers. This is not your first collaboration with Villeroy Boch. But tell me about, tell me about how you first met the brand and where you started out from. Gesa, maybe you start.
For me, it was the project with artists, the color project.
How long
I
time
think
is
it
ago?
was like 15 years maybe. Is it
yeah?
15 years?
Good
or
lord.
10
Yeah,
years
10
maybe.
years probably.
Not that old. But I started with the color project and then from there on some other projects as well, but I think artists is still my heart project. Because for the first year we bring them out in full color this year. And I love working with color. I think it's one of the best topics in design.
And Christian, what was the kernel? Well, how did the seed start with
Okay,
Villeroy
so
Boch?
I actually started with Villeroy Boch for the tableware section. That is roughly about 20 years ago. I was approached because I did a lot of tableware at this time. I started my office like in the 2000s or so. It was one of my first projects, but I was specialized on tableware. And I was approached to do a series for them, and that was 20 years, and maybe 18 years ago the series got launched, and ever since I'm working for Villeroy Boch. And maybe the collaboration with Bath and Wellness started around 7-8 years ago, and we started doing projects together, so it's a long time collaboration that I'm very happy with because it's a very fidel client, and I think
very nice ambience also to
very
work
nice
with them.
ambience to work with, and so
I think
really
you
like
feel
it.
that it's a family brand.
Yeah.
Because you get treated like family when you work with them.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Takes long time, the development, but in the end it's quite kind of fruitful.
Yeah.
Tell me about the what's new this year. So you both have new collaborations that are being showcased here. Gesa, we'll start with you. Artist Full Color.
Yes.
What is it?
It is because artist was always only done in.
You have to say what it is,
bicolor.
Gesa. Nobody knows.
Yes,
What is artist?
Thank you, Christian.
Yes.
He's doing my job for me.
Exactly.
Brilliant. You're hired.
It's a wash basin. It's in different forms. It's very easy. Like it has rectangular form, a round form, and it has this very thin line of ceramic. And that's why at the beginning it was presented in bicolor. The color was only outside. There was still this idea of, for hygiene reasons, to have it white on the inside.
Just tell me about that. This is something that was going through my mind as I was
Yes.
preparing for this interview. White was always the de facto color for sanitary ware, precisely because there was this idea that
It is.
you see germs, you see
Yes,
dirt, and
exactly.
it's hygienic. But that's not necessarily the case now, is it?
It's an idea of it. I think it's coming also, like you see it in hospitals. Everybody is wearing white, but at least there, I think it's for a very good reason. But there's no reason to have a bath wash basin in white. It's just about hygiene afterwards, of course. But to have it in full color is much more beautiful, and it's not a reason to have it in white. I checked on it before I did the project. But sometimes you see sparks on color also. It depends on the color. Sometimes you see some stuff more on darker colors, some stuff more on white. But I think for an interior concept, it's really important not to have these white things everywhere. It just destroys your interior concept.
I mean,
So
it's a
now
bit
when you
past
can
also, right?
Yes.
It's a bit, yeah. And you're the color expert, so this is
And
also...
I work a lot with color. And for me, when I was doing bathrooms like 7 years ago for clients in Paris, there was always this huge white bathtub, and it just makes like white blanks in the interior concept. There's like no reason why you should not design everything in a whole. It was really disturbing. So, for example, at the beginning, black was coming out, and so I just tried to design very dark bathrooms, so there won't be these white sparks anymore. But I think to have now, because we have a lot of colors now with artists, you can really have any space in the color you want to. And it's also so great to have like different colors, because colors always context rely. How do you say that in English?
Like-
Related, context related. And you can change the look of a color just by changing the color next to it. So
Right.
that's also what makes it
context
timeless.
and dialogue.
It's
Yeah.
so important.
Yes. So artist full color. I mean, the name is in the clue is in the name. So before you had these kind of bi-color treatment of the wash basins. Now you have a total color, like a block of color.
Matte, because I think
And in
it's-
matte, this is important as well.
I thought it was important because when you have water coming on it, you have immediately, like, you know, on rivers, when water is going over a stone, you have this shiny look on it. And I think to have the
So it's more
contrast of
dynamic then, I
shiny
guess.
and matte, yeah. Because if everything would be shiny, it's just like water shiny on shiny. But to have this play of like a laker coming on the wash basin is very nice, I think.
So let me challenge you now to say, this is your appeal to, your call to architects and bathroom planners. Why should they specify artist full color? What will this bring to their project, do you think?
I think it just blends in. It blends into the interior concept. It's just part of the interior and not some object that is standing there and has nothing to do with the rest. I think it's important to have something that is more blending in and not something that has nothing to do with the rest. But I'm very sensitive because I also do a lot of interior design.
Right.
For me, it has to be one concept.
And this is you're both kind of multidisciplinary designers. You work, you work on product design, Christian as well, but also you work on interiors as well. So this on spatial design.
Yeah.
I wonder if this kind of makes you particularly good at designing products because you understand how they function in space. Do you think this gives you an added insight?
Yeah,
Yes.
probably. I think like since years actually we work in multiple scales in the studio, and we work from small objects, small accessories of a small cup to full interiors. But my main focus always was product design actually. My heart really beats for product design. But of course I think it helps to, when you design the product, you already have a vision of how you would like to place it or how you want to present it.
And you also feel what's missing.
And you also feel what's missing, and you have such a strong dialogue by creating this product and how it could be used, and you're so involved in the conceptual period also, that helps you also to understand like how can things be presented, especially here on a fair, you know, how would people perceive your new product? And for me this definitely helps. But I have to say, like, whether we work in large scale or in small scale, we always try to be, I'm always like super attentive. I want things to be good or really perfect, at least from my point of view. And for me, it's not such a big difference. It all depends, of course, also on the brief of the company, what you're getting.
Yeah, that's true.
And how you fulfill it. And you try to go a bit the extra mile to make it really standing out. So it's not just another tab or another fair booth or another interior.
And so you've done this incredibly well with Vea, which is your new
Yes.
collaboration with Villeroy Boch.
Yes.
Talk about it in a few words. What is it?
So Vea is, I would say, like, it's a minimal, timeless. I mean, these words are so much used actually nowadays, but it's minimal, it's timeless, but it has classic references. It's a tab series that for the first time Villeroy Boch, at least with contemporary tabs, combines also the two new core competences, let's say, the ceramic production and then also the technology behind the tab. So it's really like up to date when it comes to technology, but it has
very
these
poetic.
but it has these classic references. And for me, it unites really what I like about design. It's timeless. I'm sure you can see it still in 10 years' time. Perfect technology. It's engineered and developed and produced in Germany, so the quality is outstanding for sure. And yeah, it's timeless design, and it's still recognizable. It has a certain uniqueness due to these facets that we placed around.
So it has a little bit of expression to it. And as you say, that you can see this kind of reference to a sort of a more classical idiom. I wonder what you think about this idea that making something timeless, as you say, in aesthetic terms, makes it much more sustainable. Makes it less prone to obsolescence.
Yeah. But this is also, like with all the products I'm doing, I have some tableware series that are running for 15 years, very successful, others for 10 years. And I think like if people still like a design after 15 years and still buy it, it's a sign for you like, oh yeah, as a designer, I did something right, you know? I really nailed it or fulfill it. And for me, this is such a joy and pleasure to see that something just doesn't get hype for 1 or 2 years and then it disappears from the market, but that you manage to create long-lasting products. And for me, this is the perfect way of creating a sustainable product, something that I still want to surround myself with.
Does this mean that you don't? Does this mean that you don't follow trends?
No.
You don't like trends?
Both of us.
No, I think like in the beginning of your career, you're much more aware of trends and you're like, oh, what's going on? Maybe I should design in this direction or that direction. Now I completely lost it. Since 10 years, I don't care at all, to be honest.
But you also found your style, like because
maybe.
When you see something from Christian, it's very Christian Haas. Like you can recognize it. But we both don't believe in trends. Like, even with color, I don't believe in trends.
I mean, right. I was going to ask you, do people ask you all the time about color trends? What do you say to them then?
I mean, there's always one way that is working, because in interior design, we're more about these colors that make you feel at home and that make you feel safe. While I think there are always these two worlds of like the digital world, like Apple and these brands who have like these totally different color language, because it's this very, like Pantone had this purple color years ago. That's for me a typical technical trend color.
Right.
But I mean, in interior design, you can see it in English interiors. Color can be so timeless. I mean, it doesn't have to follow a trend. And I think I don't design the artist colors to follow some trend. I design them in colors that make you feel safe, because I think the bathroom, it's one of the rooms where we are often naked. Like, it has to be some coziness to it.
Right.
I would never use colors that are aggressive to the body in a way. But I don't believe in color trends, for example. I think there has to be a certain range of interior colors that can live on for 30 years. And I think in English interiors, you can really see this, because it's still houses from the 19th century with blue dark rooms or like green libraries.
I think maybe...
Like, and you can get goosebumps.
Yeah. But maybe I think like we're also more in time of waves, right? It's not so much about trends, it's more like a general feeling. And thank goodness you don't have the sensation like, oh, this year everything is Bordeaux and next year everything is blue. Exactly.
It's about like lighting. And that's why Christian and me did the two installations, one very light and one very dark, because it's just a question about having contrast in your interiors, and not a question, like we talked about it yesterday, that it's something is more for men, something is more for women. I think we're over this now. It has to be much more timeless.
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
I never really believed that anyway.
No.
Thank God we're beyond that. And I think when we talk about trends, I think and also another term that I really don't like, which is mega trends. And I always feel that that's a marketing kind of PR push.
It's
an artificial.
It's like very Perry when they gave out the color. It was everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And that idea of it being imposed upon consumers is upon design professionals as well. It's never going to feel authentic.
Yeah.
It sort of has to have some cultural grounding, some cultural meaning, and you see this in the English interiors that you mentioned. You will see it in Scandinavian interiors as well. I wanted to ask you, as one of the last questions, or maybe the last question, how do you, so given your long-standing relationship with a brand, and also your long-standing relationship, how do you keep things interesting? Because I think anyone who's been in a long-term relationship will admit that sometimes things get a bit stale. How do you keep the fire burning?
I think in believing in the other. Like, I think the brand believes more in us and we believe in the brand. There's something about like making every day better, no?
You mean like related to the brand or in design general?
We're in relation to
Villeroy Boch, or
in relation to, for example, to Villeroy Boch.
Okay.
How do you keep the spark alight?
For me, it's like believing that it can get better and better and better.
Yeah, and for me, like, it's believing that the company has great potential and is doing so since more than 275 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to think also, it's a company with great heritage. It's a great family-run company, what is really rare nowadays. And in a way, they manage to always adapt to the times, you know? And I have the feeling there's a kind of a new energy. We also see it here on the Fair booth, like the will to take more over design leadership, let's say, also, not just made in Germany and technical innovations. And I see potential there. And for me, as a designer, it's nice to see that I can realize a tab like Vea for Villeroy Boch, that on one hand fits the brand perfectly well, but it is also a step in a design direction. It's a tab that is recognizable. And I wish to design or continue designing for Villeroy Boch products that you will see in the market and it's like, this is the Villeroy Boch tab, something that is recognizable, or the Villeroy Boch bassin or so. And I think the brand is really moving in the right direction. That keeps a bit the fire, that keeps the fire alive, I would say.
And it's also a family, I think it's important that it's a family brand.
Yeah.
Because you can feel it when you work with the teams, that there is this atmosphere. And I'm very attached to the teams, to the people who are working there as well. And that makes a good relationship too. I love this relationship. I'm still happy in my marriage.
Oh, good. I'm good. That is that. If there's one quote from this interview, that's it. That's it. Well, guys, listen, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on both of your latest collaborations with Villeroy Boch. And congratulations also on the stand concept, which we'll be discussing tomorrow on stage in a live interview. Brilliant. Thanks so much. Gesa, Christian.
Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you.